Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli with Little Blue, and continuing on because we're reviewing a couple of Sean Connery films. Now, yes, you read the title of what we're reviewing? We are reviewing The Hunt for the Red October. What do we have to say about this film?
Great film.
Yeah.
Great film. Sean Connery's in it, so what's not to like?
Yeah, exactly.
Alec Baldwin plays Jack Ryan.
Yep.
The first major motion picture where Jack Ryan appears as a character.
And originally Harrison Ford was offered for the role, but Harrison Ford turned it down because he felt it was more focused on like Sean Connery, you know.
Yeah, but he eventually did play Jack Ryan.
And he regretted not accepting the part.
Yeah, he was.
And it would have been great to see Harrison Ford and Sean Connery act once again, because this came out a year after The Last Crusade. So
Yep, exactly. But Alec Baldwin did a nice job.
Yeah.
He did a very nice job.
Yeah.
He was a good character in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Then you had James Earl Jones.
Yep. You had Jeffrey Jones. You had Tim Curry.
Yes.
You had Sam Neill. I almost forgot Sam Neill's in this too.
Exactly.
Even Gates McFadden.
Fred Thompson.
Yeah, Fred Thompson. Even Gates McFadden made a quick cameo as
Gates McFadden made a quick cameo
as Jack Ryan's wife,
and with a British accent.
Yeah, was it her attempt to make a British accent?
I thought she was pretty good at it. Actually, she was. A lot of American actors can do a pretty good British accent. Robert Downey Jr. can, for instance.
Right.
I think though that British actors are better at doing American accents than vice versa. I don't know why that is, but it just seems that
right.
It just seems that British actors are much better. They can adapt quicker. Look at Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, and they asked him, "Do you want to play this British?" Or he says, "No, I want to play it American because Doctor Strange is American in the comics."
Exactly, and Benedict nailed at doing an American accent.
He sure did. He did a really good job, and you don't hear any little things creeping out. I mean, he's
doing a full-time American accent.
Yeah, and I really wonder when they're doing that if they have to stay in character to stay in practice. I would say they do.
Yeah, because you really need to stay true to the accent. So
exactly
stay focused on it and such.
So I like to see actors when they do that. I was very anxious to see how he portrayed that, and I couldn't wait for Doctor Strange to see how he did that accent. And the same was true for
right.
Played Dr. Holmes with him in Sherlock.
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman also did an American accent.
Yep.
Playing in Civil War.
And in Black Panther.
And he did
a spot on job too.
He played
CIA agent, FBI.
He was CIA, but he was also an executive director of Shield. He was he worked under
Shield. So
yeah, he worked for Shield.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
He was probably second in command only to Samuel L. Jackson's character.
Right, Nick Fury. So what?
No, I like to see that happen. So to see Gates McFadden do that was really cool to see her do a British accent. Robert Downey Jr. does a good British accent, but Robert Downey Jr. grew up in England, so.
Yeah, you just said so.
Oh, I did, okay.
Yeah, so the Red October, because literally, Jack Ryan and others are on the hunt for the Red October.
Mm-hmm. They get intelligence. They get some spy photos that shows this some kind of a chamber that's on this Soviet submarine.
Right.
That is I can't remember what class it's called.
Right.
I know that the class vessel that Scott Glenn, he's the captain, submarine commander of this. It's a Los Angeles class. It's the Dallas, the USS Dallas.
Right.
But the Red October, I can't recall specifically what Soviet class submarine that is.
Right.
But it's the newest and it's the biggest.
Yeah.
And it has these chambers in it that basically displaces water, and it's almost like an underwater jet.
Yeah.
Where they can run in silence, and they can't be picked up on sonar.
Right.
So that's a concern.
Yeah.
Because that means they can park their subs off the East Coast or the West Coast and just start firing missiles at will if they decide. So this is a major intelligence concern, and Jack Ryan knows a lot about Captain Ramey, that's played by Sean Connery. So he's sent in, the CIA sends him in, and he actually boards the submarine, the Dallas, and he has to convince the captain, played by Scott Glenn, that Ramey is defecting, and that defecting means he wants to leave the Soviet Union and come to the United States, because at that time the Soviet Union was a communist country, and you can't just decide to leave and go move somewhere else when you live in a communist country, because they won't let you. And you have to defect. In other words, you have to run. And that's what they were doing. They wanted to defect to the United States, and so that was his plan all along. And Jack Ryan, Alec Baldwin's character, Jack Ryan, knew that, so he had to convince the Dallas not to fire on the Red October and not to destroy it, because number one, they wanted that technology, but also two, they wanted to give, this captain, who was a great captain. He was like an instructor. He taught all of the submarine commanders in the fleet, and they wanted him. They wanted him in the United States. Wanted him on their side.
That is Sean Connery's the character.
Exactly. Right? So that's the premise of the movie, and it really the technology. It's really cool, and I don't exactly know how that technology works exactly, but there were a lot of things that I would think the author had to do a lot of research to figure out how things work on a submarine, and the fact that they could increase their speed and shorten the distance when a torpedo was fired at them, so the warhead wouldn't explode.
Right.
So the torpedo hits the hull of the submarine and doesn't explode. It breaks apart before the warhead has a chance. The timer has a chance to go off and activate the warhead.
Yeah. Even this, the music in this was pretty good. Like, there's even a choir,
Yeah.
in that. And no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is going to sound, and this is, I'm as American as I'm as American as apple pie and
right,
and Chevrolet, but
right.
I think that the old Soviet national anthem is beautiful. It's a beautiful song. Has a very majestic sound to it. It has terrible meaning, but it's just a beautiful song. Has a very regal sound, like our national anthem.
Right.
But again, entirely different meaning, because they were not a country that was for freedom, like the United States is, where we live.
Right.
But beautiful national anthem.
Definitely, yeah.
The visual effects were really something.
I was about to say the visual effects in this, they were pretty good.
The opening scene when Sean Connery's character and his first officer are standing on the deck of that submarine. And it's surfaced. You don't really know where they are. And then as the camera pans out, and it pulls out rather, and you see the full view, it's revealed, that submarine. It was an amazing shot.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was real. I'd love to know the behind the scenes on that. Because it was a phenomenal shot.
Right.
Now I was looking for. We talked about this off camera. I have a Navy
before
hat.
we started filming, so
I looked for it. I couldn't find it. It's here somewhere. I promise you.
He was supposed to, either him or probably me were supposed to wear it for this review. So,
but it is literally a hat of the Red October. It's a Navy hat, and I bought it from a friend of mine whose brother was a chaplain in the Navy, and he used to get me Navy hats.
Yeah.
And because he could get them from the Navy store, where he worked on base.
Right.
And I've got the Enterprise, I've got the Independence, I've got the West Virginia, which is was a nuclear submarine that was commissioned back in the late '80s.
I also have the NX-01.
It's that style hat, similar to that.
Now.
But the Navy hats they're just beautiful. But the Red October hat. We had to get the English version. They had sold out of the Soviet version, because the Soviet, it was in Russian. It was written in Russian, and it looked so cool. It's just like the opening credits of the movie, how Red October is written in Russian, and then it's translated to American, to English, and you see Red October. But mine has Red October on it, and it has the communist star, the Russian star on it, on the right here.
Right.
So instead, I wore my shield hat.
Yeah.
And it's here somewhere. I know it is because I had it not long ago, and it's probably in the closet I've got to clean up.
Behind us and the green screen, so...
Yeah, behind the green screen, and it's just an absolute
Right now,
mess.
you're looking at the poster for the Red October. So.
Exactly.
So, and the ending to the Red October, like, everything's turns out okay at the end. Like,
It does. He's successful in defecting and
convincing Sean Connery, or
it's
to have him join or something.
It's really cool because they're cruising up that inlet in the Red October, off the coast of Maine, I guess, and it's going to a hidden submarine base, the United States, and they're on that.
Right.
They're on the bridge on the deck of that submarine.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool.
Yeah.
And he's talking about his grandfather, when he fished, and he shows
whose grandfather,
Alec Baldwin's character,
Jack Ryan
is showing Sean Connery the place. They're passing by the place where he grew up, and his father, I think it was his grandfather, would take him fishing. And I thought that was a really cool scene, because here he is an adult now. He's in the CIA, and he's escorting a Soviet submarine commander to a U.S. naval base to defect on board a Soviet class nuclear submarine.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so cool. It's like, how would that be to be fishing with your granddad and look out in the water and realize that 40 years from now you're going to be cruising up that inlet on a nuclear a Soviet-built nuclear submarine,
right,
with a Russian submarine commander who is defecting to the United States.
Yeah.
I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah. And the ending, and again, with Sean Connery's character, he goes off, what does he do exactly? Because I kind of forget,
I can't, he defects, but it's sort of like that's the end, when they're cruising up that inlet, that's pretty much the end of the movie.
Well, it's remember he was on an airplane,
Yeah, his Jack Ryan's on an airplane going back home to England
with a teddy bear.
With a teddy bear, yeah, and he's going back home, and it's pretty much ends. It's a very peaceful ending.
Yeah, it is.
To a movie that was otherwise, was threatening war and
I know
everything else. So,
well, what a way for an ending, but kind of peacefully. So
exactly.
Yeah, and you said because what happens to Sean Connery's character, what's his character's name again? I forget.
I think it's General Ramey. Captain Ramey.
Yeah, they were trying to convince Captain Ramey, do something, right? To come in or just come to America or whatever. What was it again?
Well, he wanted to defect. He wanted to defect.
Oh,
that was his. He wanted to. They didn't talk him into anything. They just wanted. They had to secure that submarine and make the Soviets believe that submarine was destroyed,
right,
so they could get it back to the United States safely.
Right.
Because they couldn't technically steal Soviet property.
Right.
But Ramey turns it over to the United States military, to the United States Navy.
Right.
And then they have to play it off that it was destroyed, and the Soviets believed that it was destroyed, but it wasn't.
Right. So, the U.S. and the ones on October, they kept that to themselves, and
right?
Not let the Soviet know.
They take it to a secret. Naval base, hidden naval base that the Soviets don't know about. They can't see it from a spy satellite because they're not going to be looking for it.
Right.
And it was a very a lot of intrigue, a lot of
if the Soviet
cloak and dagger stuff. It was cool.
If the Soviet did know, it was just disaster would have happened, or just they would have been pissed off.
Oh, it could have been war. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you've got our hardware, you better get it back to us because it had a secret weapon.
Right.
Which was that silent running engine.
Right. And for Sean Connery, because Captain Raymond
Captain Ramius.
What, does he go off and do something with the Navy or just whatever? Because
I don't know. He probably led a quiet life, but he may have very well have been. He probably led a quiet life, but he may very well have become a naval a naval advisor for the U.S. Navy. Who knows?
Right.
But he was clearly, you could see that he was clearly had become
Yes.
He had grown tired of communism, of the whole, because they had to have a political officer on board to
Right.
open the orders, to read the orders, and the political officer had to read the orders to the captain. It was very much controlled, which the military, U.S. military, is nothing like that. They'll get their marching orders from the commander, not from a politician. But that's the way it was. That's the way it was done in the Soviet Union. So.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so, and yet it would have been cool to say if maybe Sean Connery did appear in any of the other sequels, maybe this time start and be alongside Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that would have been neat. That really would have been neat.
Yeah.
But again, I thought Alec Baldwin did a really good job as the Jack Ryan character.
Yep.
Really good.
And thus the next films, with Jack Ryan, Harrison Ford would play them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, and what's his face from Quiet Place? John, I forget his last name, but you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He would go on to play Jack Ryan in the series, with centering around Jack Ryan.
Right.
Yeah, you know about that, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So that, and yeah, so we've had him, Harrison Ford, and Alec Baldwin playing the character Jack Ryan. So.
Right.
So there you go. I feel like there was another movie where somebody else played Jack Ryan. I'm pretty sure after Harrison Ford. Maybe I just can't remember.
Yeah, Chris Pine.
Chris Pine. Chris Pine played him, did he?
Yes.
I almost forgot. So Chris Pine as well.
AKA Captain James Tiberius Kirk from the.
I almost forgot. Chris Pine.
J.J. Abrams reboots. Yeah.
I almost forgot.
Star Trek reboots.
Chris Pine did play Jack Ryan.
Yeah, and he was supposed to play him again. I don't know how that's going to pan out, but I think the movie did very well actually.
No, we should give the other films a watch of Jack Ryan
I agree.
With Harrison Ford and up to Chris Pine. So
yeah. I've seen the other Jack Ryan movies with Harrison Ford. I never saw the one with Chris Pine though. They were good movies.
Well, we should give them a watch sometime. So, but as for the Red October, again, what do we have to say about it? Any last words on it?
Excellent movie. Excellent movie. If you get a chance, if you haven't watched it, watch it. You will enjoy it. I promise you.
Yes. And for those of you that have seen it, let us know what you think of it. Just let us know in the comments section. And I guess we give this 10 out of 10 stars and 2 thumbs up, right?
2 thumbs up, 10 out of 10.
Right. So again, 2 thumbs up and 10 out of 10 for The Hunt for the Red October. Again, you guys let us know what you think of The Hunt for the Red October. If you've seen it, what you think of it. And for those of you that haven't seen it, you should give it a watch. Do you think?
Agreed.
Yep. And that one part where Sean Connery, he kills somebody. You remember that?
Yes. Breaks his neck, basically.
Like, because what he disagreed on him was something?
What was the political officer?
The political
He killed
officer.
the political officer who was reading the orders from the father, from the home, the motherland, from the Politburo, the Soviet,
right, and
he was reading the orders, and
yeah, I almost forgot to mention
Sean Connery,
killed him.
Captain Ramius killed him.
Captain Ramius killed him because what?
Because he wanted him out of the way, because he knew he was going to defect, and he burned their orders, and then he forged his own orders. Remember that?
Right.
He had his own orders and pretended
thus,
like those were the... And
thus
and
explains,
then he told the crew, we're going to defect to the United States.
Thus explains,
exactly
what you were saying, just, But anyway, so I just thought I'd mention that because I remember that, so, Anyways, so again, you let us know what you think of The Hunt for the Red October. Again, 10 out of 10 stars, 2 thumbs up. Yeah, we enjoy it, so, And I'm sure you guys, for those of you that have seen it, you do too, and just what I said, so, what we said. Anyway, so with that said, we hope you enjoyed our review of The Hunt for the Red October. More reviews coming your way. Keep looking forward. They're going to be awesome. Any last words?
Off out.
Yep. Little Blue says off out for me. Again, we hope you enjoyed our review of The Hunt for the Red October, and we'll see you guys in the next video /review video. Take care, and peace out.